So if you're watching this video around its release date, chances are you've come from my old channel known as iDocLyfe XII, which is now discontinued, and all my new content will be coming to this channel, the Grand Tovega. Now I've explained pretty much why this is happening to my viewers and subscribers on that channel in my final video on that channel, so I'll basically give you a little recap. Basically, I've moved over here simply because I wanted a fresh start. Now, I know a lot of you may be asking who, were viewers of that old channel, maybe asking why would you leave a channel where you had 5,000 subs and all that content on there. Basically, a fresh start means a lot more to some people than to others, and I guess I can say I'm one of those some people. I've been wanting to do this for quite some time, man, and it's not because I feel like I'm not getting the amount of views or the amount of subs or whatever. If that was the case, then I would never make a new channel, and I wouldn't try to start from scratch, because it's only going to be harder to gain a lot of views and a lot of subs when you're starting from the very bottom. Basically, what I wanted to do was remind myself of why I joined YouTube, man. I joined YouTube to basically just put my shit out there, just to put my shit out there. But when I did it on the last channel, it was in such a disorganized fashion. Over the years, I started to hate that. Like, God damn it, I didn't really come into this channel with, some type of plan or how I'm going to structure it and whatnot. And that's basically what this channel right here is, the Grand Tovega. This is like the revival or the second coming of my first channel, you can say. And I'm very optimistic about it. That's pretty much it for iDocLyfe XII as far as the channel. All new content will be coming here, as I've said. And if you need to know even more about that, in case you haven't watched the video, the last video on that channel, I'll leave that in the link down in the description below. But this video isn't about explaining that all over again. That's done, that's passé, and that is left on the last channel where it belongs. This is about bringing in the new. Welcome to the Grand Tovega. And I know a lot of you may be asking, what the fuck is a Tovega? And I'll gladly answer. Basically, Tovega is something, it's one of the many words I've come up with over the course of my, I guess you can say, author life. Because in high school, there were three things that I was huge on before I ever became a serious editor or anything like that. First and foremost was art. I was an artist from jump since I was a little ass boy, man. All I did was sketch on shit. There wasn't a surface I didn't try to draw something on. It didn't matter if I had a fucking midterm paper or whether it was an important test paper or even a fucking college application. I would sketch on it because I just couldn't help it. I had to put my ideas out there one way or another. And that brings me to my second thing, writing. I love writing. I once bought a huge poster just to fucking write an entire story on it. And I mean, this poster was gigantic. And I wrote as small as I could until I got the whole story finished. And it just filled the fucking poster front to back. I've also written a full-length story and pretty much a novel. And that is where the word Tovega spawns from. But I'm going to tell you the third thing before I get into that. The third thing that was big about me, especially growing up, was mythology. I loved history, especially when it came to ancient times, whether it be the Norse, ancient Egypt, Chinese mythology, Greek mythology, whatever it may be. I was interested in it for some reason. I always took a liking to mythology and folklore tales, and that had a huge influence on what I wrote and what I sketched and all the stories I came up with. Now, getting back to Tovega, that had a lot to do with my writing and artistry, because the word Tovega came from a series that I created known as Kraton and the Horns of Apocalypse, which is pretty much, this is my first time ever revealing that even exists. So, yeah, now you learn something new about me. I created this series called Horns of Apocalypse, which was heavily influenced by the comic Spawn. I was a huge Spawn fan. I still am a huge Spawn fan. I always will be. But heavily influenced as far as appearance by Spawn and, some animes and whatnot that I grew up in, like such as Dragon Ball, Dr. Slump, the manga and all that shit. Stuff like that, and Yu Yu Hakusho, all that shit, I had a huge influence. It had a huge influence on me growing up and shit, and I really put that into my work and what I did, but I tried my hardest to stay away from replicating those series and stuff. As far as artistry and the artistic form, I was really influenced by a lot of those artists, Akira Toriyama, guys like that and all that shit. But when it came to my writing, that was absolutely original. And I did some Lord of the Rings type shit. I basically created my own language within this story. And the word Tovega basically means patient king. And at the same time, it represented a planet within that series. Tovega was the original planet that Creighton was on. And Creighton is a spirit, basically. And I don't want to basically tell that entire story because this video would be long as fuck. In fact, I'll just make a video on it explaining that story, since I'll never probably release a book on it or whatever. I'll just explain it and try to put some artwork up so it can paint the picture as to what I was trying to talk about back then. Mind you, this is shit that I wrote when I was in high school. So there's that. But Tovega has always been one of my favorite words and one of my favorite nicknames, period. Because it's absolutely original. It doesn't exist anywhere else. It's something I came up with. When I come up with names and like, you know, names that mean shit to me, I always Google it. I always use all the search engines I can to see if this shit exists anywhere. Tovega does not exist. So I can really say that I've came up with this word completely on my own. But yeah, that's basically what I wanted to make this video about, explaining what the fuck the Grand Tovega is and what this channel is going to represent. It's the second coming of my old channel, but in a much more organized fashion, and we're trying to aim for the top with this one. So I hope you guys come with me and enjoy the ride. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell button. That shit is important. I didn't realize how important that bell button was until I started researching, like, what the fuck is that bell button? It's basically notifications, so you can actually receive my content in your subscription feed when you're subscribed to me, you know, and not like how YouTube's fucking retarded ass algorithm is, where it's just all over the place and throwing at you, you know, shit that it thinks you want to see besides the stuff that you subscribe to. So make sure you hit that button as well. This is the Grand Tovega, also known as iDocLyfe, and I'll see you in the next video.